pleasure now to reintroduce Etel Adnan. Etel made an amazing presentation last year in the Mag Marathon. And we are incredibly excited that she's back in London. A Lebanese-American poet, essayist, visual artist who divides her time between Lebanon, France, and the US. Etel has written extraordinary books such as the legendary Sigmari Rose, also Master of the Eclipse, In the Heart of Another Country, and also The Spring Flowers On. Last year in the Map Marathon, she presented some of her drawings of her own maps and also a reading from her book Master of the Eclipse. And actually, when we discussed the other day in an interview, Etel spoke about her view a lot out of the window in the Sausalito Mountains, the famous Mount Tamalpais, and somehow her admiration for Hölderlin. And it's actually very interesting because we've invited two poets somehow together, Etel and also Andrea Zanzotto. And actually, Etel will now make a reading. It has to do with the Spring Flowers On. After that, we will have a short break, and you can then see actually on the screen in the lobby Andrea Zanzotto's interview, and both has to do with Hölderlin. A very warm welcome to Etel Adnan.
I hope you hear me better. I wrote this poem, The Spring Flowers On, in 1985. And it has to do, of course, with the spring. I had been ill for a month and a half, so I started getting better, and one day I went to the window and I looked into the garden. It's a garden in Sausalito, in north of San Francisco. It's just 3-4 terraces. It's not a big garden. But after not having been outside, the light was almost unbearable, and I saw the power, the existence, the presence of the flowers. They are little things and we are used to them, but like everything alive, they are formidable things, and we don't know them, we discover them along our life. So their presence, their power, their meaning, it all came like an epic story. And I wrote this. We went out to sea. A bank of waves was heading south. We got drunk in a barroom. The small town of Fairfax had just gone to bed. Cherry trees were bending under the weight of their flowers. They were involved in a ceremonial dance to which no one had ever been invited. I know flowers to be funeral companions. They make poisons and venoms and eat abandoned stone walls. I know flowers shine stronger than the sun. Their eclipse means the end of times. But I love flowers for their treachery. Their fragile bodies grace the imagination's avenues. Without their presence, a mind would be an unmarked grave. Flowers end in frozen patterns. Artificial gardens cover the floors. We get up close to midnight, search with powerful lights the tiny shrubs on the meadows. A stream desperately is running to the ocean. The first ring of battle called for a marriage of smell and form. Narcissi, cyclamen, African violets, in the garden's secret get ready for their weddings. Camellias are whiter than Ophelia's skin the night of her terror. Gradually, large tropical leaves raise their arms. They tumble across an expanding space, lovelier than a woman dancer, lovelier than my thoughts. I see, heading east, the pearl-colored march of clouds. Roses lend their blood to young soldiers drowning in the Tigris. Flowers triumph over the human race. Their tragedies are short-lived. Their agonies exude incense and myrrh. At the entrance of temples, they are the ones to be eternally eternal. I envy their lucency, their crudity. We are the shadows, and they our hosts. One night in Wyoming, there was a sky and a road. The stars were outshined by radio satellites. My memory spills over my days, and like a balloon occupies the whole universe. Because she ate flowers and pills, she's not here tonight, but in a field of white flowers. She is planted as they are, in the soil, in the heat. The moon, Mars, and Venus were on a single line. The next night, they formed a triangle. Spring is a naked body standing in glory. Sounds are helpless. Women are silent. The flowers of my garden are waiting for the bees. The moon darkened as soon as she appeared. I trembled with apprehension, fearing the length of the night. There are no rites for this spring. Its splendor runs from one horizon to the other. My feet acquire its speed. My eyes fill with its terror. It crushes its own roots and mine. Nothing is left, nothing. But the sun went into total darkness. The stars took over. The sky became a garden with billions of flowers. Spring seemed to be with us forever. Flowers, flowers, more flowers. Is this a wedding or a wake? So many women are sitting still, listening to the traveling flowers. The electronic age is a rose. Roses are electricity, are voices. Often at night, camellias glow their phosphorus whiteness in the garden's hushed silence. Reason falters, losing its steps, and stumbles into some somber music, this side of the oneness of reality. We walked many nights through beds of flowers, telling each other that mountains move secretly, stars betray their order, rivers and flowers are women in love. Her name could have been Rosemary, could have been Camellia, Rose, or Lily. There is a black rose growing in the middle of my heart. Its scent makes me sleep longer. It is a summer afternoon. I am 14 years old. The jasmine is tormenting my soul. Its power weighs heavily on my breast. It competes with my young love and the movies which storm my brain. Spring fever in Beirut lasts from dusk to dawn. There were 2 moons and 2 suns that morning. I will not give a name to a flower which never dies. The sky is the beginning of a new continent. Unmapped is my space, uncharted my vision. Flowers push their way into the hollow of my ligaments, make roots in my veins. Trees press each other in a parade of angels. Linden trees were crowns of blossoms. They circle, move on, and gather moss on their limbs. They belong to a theater universe. Cities are their stage. They perform under balconies and undress in the winter when a curtain of fog has fallen. Those trees, who are silent creatures, whose souls reach deeper than ours, preside over oxygen's destiny. A great drama is unfolding in the forest. Nothing will stand tall the day of resurrection. Under a combination of pain and machine gun fire, flowers disappeared. They are in the same state of non-being as Emily Dickinson. We the dead have conversations in our gardens about our lack of existence. The gardener is planting blue and white flowers. Some angel moved in with me to flee the cold temperatures on earth which are rising. But we wear upon us some immovable frost. I left the morning paper by the coffee cup. The heat was 85, like the year, and I went to the window to find that flowers had bloomed overnight to replace the bodies felled in the war. Thank you.
Etel, merci infiniment. Etel, thank you so very, very much. As I said, we have also Andrea Zanzotto's poem connected to Hölderlin, and for those of you who haven't seen it, you can see this later in the breaks. It's in the lobby of the Serpentine on a screen. And I'm very, very happy now to invite Etel to read the poem of Andrea Zanzotto. Etel Adnan reads Andrea Zanzotto, a poem he has written for the marathon today.
It's a beautiful poem. I just read it a few minutes ago, and I think he addresses a landscape. When I first read it, I thought he was addressing a woman, so it comes to the same. It's called From Ligonas. No, you have never betrayed me. Upon you I have poured back all that which you, infinite absentee, infinite acceptee, cannot have. The gloom of destiny, inimical clouds or guilt, the implosive vortex. You who dissolve the idea itself of trauma into fifths, indifferent yet pertinent, nullifying silences. You, resistant to the final act of this integrative and twisted human cupidity. You, perhaps by now, skeletal with few tatters, but you who need only a sunbeam to revive. Continue to give me family with your families of colors and silent shadows, yet movements from silence. You give, distribute with gentleness and with mild distraction the decency. But no, with quivering blizzards of blossoms of apple and cherry trees, with swift, swift clouds of petals and kisses. Yesterday you, yesterday, caressed me. Crowded absences, shadows, crowding in at my shoulders, inasmuch as you were and will be, petals, petals, lovingly dissolved in the tall ashen grass, and down there, amid the apple trees, gaping intimations of evening. In petals, give us, according to our merits, pure rains, slender moons, few, but how immense, give, so that only in mildness for you I conceive of myself, and in mutual exchange of drowsings, lovings, and sensings, from this great tavern, Ligonas, from its window eyes on the edge of the void, I forever recognize you and gather you into myself. Thank you.